Welcome back. Today we are going to be flying out the J8F, new addition from the Royale update. And if you have flown the MiG-21 BIS or the J8B, this flight performance is very similar, and you will be facing 12.0 basically every match. This thing, however, does get a few updates. It's the PL-8 missile, which is essentially a Python 3 super strong IR missile. Unfortunately, it's still only an IR missile and it is going to be flared. So this thing instantly goes into the realm of kind of being a rat vehicle where you kind of hide around, sneak around and try to ambush people. That's the best way you are going to be playing this thing. Luckily, ambushing goes quite well with this thing because it has an HMD, as you can see right here. You can lock up enemy vehicles by simply looking at them. No need to point your nose at them, which makes ambushing quite easy, as you can tell right here. I don't really need to point my nose at them. I kind of still did, but I just kind of drop in from the heavens. I drop my dookie and then I simply leave. And because I don't have any radar missiles, I don't really need to have my radar on, which is going to increase my stealth ability a little bit. People are not really going to be looking at me that much. And to top it all off, the missiles are decently flare resistant. As you can see right here, we have an F-14B ahead of us, and the F-14B is about 200 degrees colder than the F-14A. And at this kind of range, you need to turn your afterburner off. Like, even if you do it last second, it's not going to be enough. And the explosion, of course, looks terrific. So, flight performance. The flight performance here is not the best. If people dogfight you, you can somewhat win, but you need a few criteria to be met in order for that to happen. They need to not play energy. You need to hope that they don't run away and try to open up the gap. And it kind of needs to be set up in a way where you have position before you get too slow. This thing bleeds a lot of energy. You are a delta wing. That's just how it is. So you want to get kind of slower, you want to get behind them, and then they need to commit to the fight. You have amazing controllability, especially if you use your keyboard. So getting reversals in by getting last second snapshots is pretty doable. And you've seen that in my previous J8B video as well, where we just kind of flop around the nose and you can just absolutely dunk on people. The controllability here is insane, just like that. It will be kind of complaining after you do it, but the nose will go towards where you want it to go. Afterwards it's going to complain, but if you got the shot by doing it, then you are already in the clear and you can recover by diving out. Now let's look at an actual game here. How do I play it? What do I do? So I have the radar off, I come in from the side, I went all the way around the map and I kind of hooked back in. So I'm coming in from a 90-degree angle from the left side of the map. I'm trying to jump in when the furball develops. The thing is, on City it's a very small map. It's a map with air spawn, so I don't really like to go to the side and climb a little bit because you will be instantly caught in your actions, and I don't want that to happen. So on normal maps I go a little bit to the side. I go to about 5 kilometers, just high enough to not get a contrail, to not get any unwanted attention at the start of the match, and then I go towards the middle, depending on how the game plays out, of course. Depending on the map, you have maps with a lot of mountains. I like to stay a little bit lower, just like this one, where I can kind of just hop up over hills, shoot a missile off and just leave the area. Right here we are engaging a Mirage, and I know that he's gonna be flopping around, so I try to bleed a little bit of speed to get my nose on, but he's just too slippery. So I throttle back up, make sure that I don't lose too much speed, because he is probably gonna send it after us, and that's exactly what he does. However, we are much quicker, and I'm gonna be pre-flaring and flaring in the case it's an invisible missile. I'm also flying into the sun, so I should be completely okay here. But for now I'm just trying to get him away from the MiG-29. I then notice that the MiG-29 starts dogfighting my friendly F-16, so I'm gonna recommit to the Mirage. So now we are going about Mach 0.95, which is a decent amount of speed. We just need to be careful because the Mirage 2000 is extremely dangerous in the dogfight. So we go head on, we miss our shots, and I'm gonna go into the vertical here. But you can tell that I'm trying to also open up the gap. I'm not full sending it completely. I'm waiting for him to turn. He's turning upwards, so I'm gonna kind of level out a little bit. You can tell that I'm not full beating it all the time. I'm just trying to somewhat get away from him. And because we did that, we got another, I think, 300 to 400 meters. We bob around a little bit. Defers are pretty slow. He's trying to use his radar gun sight, but he's extremely slow. Now he stalled out below us. We nose back down. MiG-29 goes down in the background. perfect. We shoot a missile off. He's way too slow. He needs to afterburn to get away from us. And he's eating the missile because of that. So now, Mirage down, MiG-29 down. We are gonna go for the next Mirage. I want to help out my friendly F-16 with the Mirage, but the Mirage looks like he's coming back to his runway. So I want to make sure that we can kind of tag team him before he gets near his teammates. Because there is a Harrier, I believe, an F-14 that are both on the runway. And this Mirage, I think it's a 2000, is gonna join forces with them. And I don't want that to happen. So I thought I was slick, go behind the hill, shoot a missile over it. He definitely saw it. And he is just gonna flare it in the head-on. Really no sweat. I still have 2 missiles, but I only have 5 minutes of fuel. So at this point I'm contemplating, should I go back to the runway? Now I'm doing a little bit of a double thing here. I'm deciding, do I go back to the runway? And I'm making it clear that I'm thinking about going back to the runway in the hope that they will start engaging my friendly F-16. If this turns into a little bit of a 3v1, I can come in, I have 2 missiles, and they're probably not gonna look at me. I don't have my radar on yet again. They're not gonna get an RWR ping, so they probably aren't really gonna be that aware of me. F-14 starts going vertical. He's not going pretty fast, and I hope he's too focused on the F-16 so I can just missile him out of the air. If you get in this kind of situation and you are the F-16, do not fly directly at your teammate. I'm pretty sure the only reason the F-14 saw me there is because the F-16 kind of turned towards me and my missile just happened to be on the screen. So I need to be a little bit ballsy here. I need to make a play right now, so I'm going to send it for the Harrier. The F-14 is too close to really get a missile off in the short range here. We actually managed to get a hit in. I wasn't aware that I hit him that hard because I didn't even get a marker on the bottom right where it said suffers damage from anything. So I'm recommitting to the F-14. However, the F-14 is not simply running away. It turns out I took out still control. So I'm gonna dive away. I don't know that at this time. I'm just not gonna go after the F-14 as he's trying to fly away. At least that's what I think is happening. So I'm gonna try to get back to my runway. Dominic in the F-14 is just going to slowly but surely slam into a mountain. And that's completely fine with me. The issue is that the Mirage just landed and I need to get all the way across the map. And you can see him right there at the top of that cloud. There he is. Little missile coming in, and I'm just gonna stay on the deck. And it doesn't matter what he does with his radar, it doesn't matter how good that radar is, because I am behind a nice little mountain. So we are gonna scurry around on the deck. I'm going to keep my radar on for now, and this is intentional. I'm trying to let him know where I am, so when I turn everything off, he is going to completely lose me. At least that's the plan. I'm gonna let him know that I'm not gonna be using AA, because I actually want to have a nice little fight. Because everything for the content. So I decide to myself, I want to be somewhat careful with going up into him, because I don't want to full commit in the head-on. He has another 530D, and that's a missile I do not want to deal with. Right now I have my radar on, and I'm about to turn my smoke on to give him an indication of where I am. For now. So I know that he's trying to keep his altitude. He knows that I don't have any radar missiles, and this is a little bit of cat and mouse and psychological warfare, let you call it. I turn on my smoke to see if he notices me, and he turns out. So I have a feeling that he has no clue where I am. So now I turn my radar off, I turn my smoke back off, and I'm gonna try to not get the sonic boom as much. But as you can see, then the sonic boom is pretty prevalent here. But I'm gonna try to dip below it or push through it and just kind of stay on the deck. This guy now has absolutely no clue where I am. And this is great, because this means that I can actually pitch up into him without him just blasting me with a radar missile. So I'm directly below him now. We're gonna prime the missile, and we are just gonna send these missiles straight at him. And all things considered, he didn't know where I was, but he's still pretty vigilant, and he happened to catch the missile before it hit him. I also noticed that he's going hella slow, so I'm gonna pitch up over his nose. I'm gonna cut throttle a little bit. But because I have so much speed here, even though I bleed a lot of speed, I have this guy basically energy trapped. So I'm gonna go over his nose. He is gonna try to pitch up, which is completely fine. But he doesn't really have the energy to pull into the shot here. It's going to be a little bit sketchy if he has a very good aim and he has very good stall control. But this is a fight that I need to win fast rather than slow. I should probably not overuse my flaps too much. Just go up over his nose. Nice attempt, however. That could have ended me. But we are on almost no fuel. We are using our flaps a little bit too much here, but it's okay because we have the position to do so. And at this point the Mirage 2000 just falls out of the air. The Delta wing definitely didn't help him. And now we get a very clean, very nice shot. We just hold the trigger down, we set him on fire, we take his entire plane apart, and that is going to be GG. Nice little fight. Thank you for the footage. In the future, I advise you to not stay high like that. You're making yourself pretty vulnerable, especially in a 1v1. I don't have any radar missiles, of course, so it's going to be a little bit less bad as when you're fighting something like an F-14 and F-16 or other planes that have those kind of missiles. But you are at the advantage with the Mirage, and I would kind of recommend you to not put yourself in a position where you can get snuck up on like that. But other than that, pretty good control of the plane. We are gonna go on to a little bit of a more average game. This is more of your game that you're gonna run into very often, just like the second and first clip that you saw in this video. And people just are not aware of us. The thing is, there's also a lot of ghost missiles going on right now, so it's kind of hard to tell whether people just don't see the missile, whether they're not looking, or if the missile just straight up doesn't render in. It's very annoying. It makes it very hard to play top tier, especially if you are playing a plane that relies to be in the thick of it. The J8F, like you see right here, you are forced to kind of fly into the furball, come in from the top, and hope that people don't see you. Now, of course, if all these missiles don't render in, it's a massive boost. You can probably get a 6-time multi-kill if you drop in and none of the missiles render. The issue is, it's not fun. Because you are at altitude and you need to go defensive very often. That's why I also like to just stay near the deck. Staying near the deck is going to give you a lot more survivability. The issue is you need to look around and you need to look above and behind you very often, because it's just a very sketchy place to be. There can be a guy directly on top of me right now that's doing to me what I did in the, I think, third or fourth clip where I drop in from the heavens. You are just susceptible to that kind of gameplay. It's a mid plane. This plane has no business in this meta, and the PR, I think it's fair because of the Pythons. The issue is that 12.0 is such a big gap in performance that you really just have to kind of pray that you get a lucky matchmaker. Whether what you fight in terms of your team composition, in terms of what the enemy is in, who wants to go for you, who wants to ignore you. It's not a very consistent plane. I didn't have a very good time in it. I didn't do very great in it. And that's just because a lot of things just hard counter it. Flares instantly defeat your missiles. This gun is piss slow. I lose a lot of speed very quickly. And all in all, it's not a great recipe for success. Is it fun? Kinda. I mean, I like the Pythons, but I think I would rather fly the Kafir, or I'd rather fly the Nets with the F-16, which has a lot of a better flight model, and it kind of handles the same as this. At least when you're talking about how you fly it in an average game. Of course, the flight model is pretty different, and you still get 6 of them, so you should be completely okay. But that's all I have for you today. Thank you all for watching, and you'll see me in the next one with probably the AJS 37.